The Worldwide Institute of Leadership and Development today held a leadership seminar that sought to look into the country's leadership challenges. Academics, politicians and other stakeholders gathered in Midrand under the theme South African Leaders Challenges Since 1994, with a book also released. Let's hear more now on that session with leadership expert Professor Mazwe Majola. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. He's joining us virtually from here in Johannesburg. When I saw the title of your conference today, South African Leaders Challenges Since 1994, I thought, wow, well, that's fascinating. Somebody really should write a book about that. I was very happy then to read further that you have. Let's start with that subject matter. South African Leaders Challenges Since 1994. How was one day enough to discuss that, Prof?
And your question is so spot on. Good evening, by the way. And your question is so spot on because indeed we couldn't have, or we didn't have sufficient time to look into this enormous discussion or topic in such a way that we couldn't even come into the recommendations, because the idea was to look and look into the challenges, but also and focus on challenge, or rather recommendations moving forward. We couldn't even reach that because it was so much to be discussed, and in just afternoon, 4 hours was not enough indeed.
Now, if you look back at the start of 1994, those South African leaders in that very important year in our history were saddled with a mountain of challenges that they needed to slowly start picking away. And then the challenges just kept coming, and there we find ourselves in what we find ourselves in 2023. But on top of that, we've also had a long list of very different type of leaders. Even if you just look at the people who have taken up office in the presidency, what did your gathering today make of the different personalities and the different leadership styles that we've seen come in and out of the top office in South Africa?
Well, beginning with 1994, really, I think that was a time of hope. If Cyril Ramaphosa is speaking about that South Africans are defined by hope and resilience, I think in 1994 that hope was manifested, because there was that excitement, there was that expectation. As Madiba took over, people were so excited, and he managed to pull people together, especially in South Africa, all races, all nations, all genders, everyone. His was really more in terms of nation building, reconciliation, and making amends, and even forgiving other people who did wrong, who did him wrong. So that was very good in that, and there was so much hope, and there was so much excitement, and even the seminar today observed that South Africa was very respected globally during that time. Actually, people were writing case studies. Universities, institutions all over the world, they were writing case studies about South Africa, and even other countries, they look up into South Africa for solutions and for suggestions. There are so many countries who came to South Africa for help, to say, please come to us and assist us, because South Africa was looked like that beacon of hope, that, wow, look at the example, look at the nation that has done so well. That was during Madiba's time. Of course, there was internal politics, and internal politics inside the organization. As you remember that, in 1994, we started with RDP policy, 1996, and then Madiba introduced GEAR, which actually was the genesis of conflict and tension within the tripartite alliance, because that gear is the one that caused that conflict as I mean, South African Communist Party and COSATU was against GIA, but Madiba managed to put his foot down and say, this is the policy that we have developed and we're not going anywhere. And I think we are so longing for a leader like that, a leader who can say, it shall be like this, whether you like it or not. You remember, he told the American president, he told everyone to say, we are doing things the way we are doing in South Africa. There is no one who can come and tell us. So Madiba did very well, and then the transition between Madiba and Thabo Mbeki was very smooth. Thabo Mbeki took over from where Madiba left. Thabo Mbeki, even though he did relatively well for the country during that time because the economy grew during this time, but there was an observation that the seminar that he focused so much to Africa as a continent through his NEPAD, through his African Renaissance, and then delegates were even saying that so wish that enthusiasm and passion and energy and resources he put it into South Africa first. That his focus, if his focus was more on South Africa first before the continent. So with Thabo Mbeki there was that, but as we know that Thabo Mbeki then was recalled. We didn't, I mean, delve into Mohlante because he was a stand-in president. But coming Zuma to Zuma, there was a very good comparison and contrasting between the Madiba to Thabo Mbeki and Mbeki to Zuma, because the relationship that Madiba had with his deputy was so well and good, but unfortunately Mbeki and Zuma didn't have that good relationship as the president and the deputy president. So by the time Zuma took over, there was that obviously conflict and tension. As we know that factionalism seems like stemmed from was in 2005 when Mbeki recalled to Zuma, and then as we know that Zuma was put back. So there's these challenges from Zuma's time in terms of state capture, corruption, and then until now to Cyril Ramaphosa when he took over from Zuma, that he had to deal with so many things that he had to correct until now. So there are so many challenges, but it's because leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership. When things go well, it's because of leadership. When things go bad or poor, it's because of leadership or lack thereof, of leadership. So that is what we're looking at in terms of from 1994 until now. Where have we been in terms of the successes and failures of our presidents?
If I could tap into your expertise as an organizational strategist as well, I wanted to know if you feel that we've put too much emphasis on that top job, on the hot seat in the presidency, and that we do not pay enough attention in the leadership that's needed in positions around the president, in the organization that he's put in place around him. We've seen recently quite a few positions being placed inside the presidency for various reasons. Everybody has an opinion on that. Political parties criticizing the president, saying that he's put too much of those important positions close to the presidency, including this new Minister of Electricity that we're waiting to hear about with bated breath. Do you think that we, as those voting for those people in the top leadership positions, have spent enough time thinking about what leadership styles and personalities are needed in the organization around that top position?
One of the things that emerged today again which delegates and speakers dwelled so much into, was the policy of meritocracy. That if South Africa can really go back to that policy and practice and make sure that people who are appointed into key positions are people who are capable, who are committed, who are qualified, who are ethical, who are diligent, people, right people into right seats. So I think this is what is lacking in our country, and the presidency or the president himself, I think it's very important, as like any other leader, that you must be surrounded by capable people. Because whatever these people will do will reflect on your, or impact on your successes, on your or failures. So it must not be like, let me grab or pull like-minded or people who are, who follow me, or people who my cronies, and the people from my faction. So he must be able to identify good talent and practice meritocracy. These people must be the people who deserve to be into those positions. So I think if he can do that, he will survive. And unfortunately, people tend to focus so much on loyalty in as far as followership is concerned. I always say that every leader and any leader would like to be served or would like to work with someone who's loyal and committed. That one is a given. However, loyalty must not supersede diligence and competence. So it's very important that he must make sure that whoever he gets into that office of presidency or surrounding him, whether be advisors or be those presidents that are working around him, even the ministers, even the cabinet ministers that is going to announce. Sooner, we hope. There must be people who know their job. It must not be some kind of pacific that is just pacifying for situation, that must put someone there, because it will be at his expense. You know, when the country is not doing well, people will say it's President Ramaphosa. So he must always remember that. People won't be saying it's because President Ramaphosa had to put that one in terms of pacifying the situation within the tripartite alliance. Unfortunately, as a leader, he's the one who will be blamed and criticized and insulted. It's very important that the people he appoints must be the people who will serve him and people who know their job.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. This is a discussion that could go on for a while, but unfortunately we've run out of time. That's leadership expert Professor Mazwe Majola joining us virtually from Johannesburg, the Worldwide Institute of Leadership and Development, today holding a seminar looking at the country's leadership challenges. And if you watch eNCA, you know that those are a very, very long list.